Oh, we live. Hey everyone. I was sending something to you through the email. Hi everybody. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. I am so excited. This is like our second Shaping Solutions, How to Elevate in Life podcast. And we
Yes.
have Miss Danielle. How you
Hey,
doing, Miss
Sheila.
Danielle?
It's all right today. It was a little rainy today, but outside, other than that, it never lasts long.
Yeah, it was raining here yesterday. But today it's been sunny. It's been sunny. I went out to the office today to kind of get that done, but it's been quite pretty cool. Anything else going on?
Nothing in particular, just taking it one day at a time. All we can
Hmm.
do.
Okay. Well, I just want to remind our audience to focus in, right? Share this podcast. We're gonna go right into our title, which is "Shape Your Life." Right?
Yes.
Last week, I'm sorry, we talked about mindset. Really, do you have the right mindset to do the things that you want to do? Um, and the shape your life. I'm gonna send it to him. Shape your life is really this developed, Danielle, about the reason I came up with this title, similar to mindset, trying to develop a mindset to kind of
Mhm.
live the life I want to live. And maybe about 4 years ago, I had a business partner and we did this series in July. And the series was he had a business called Motivating Factors. So we talked about the five motivating factors to shape your life. That was in the month of July, each week.
Okay.
When I did that month, my whole life changed. Like each week, we focused on one of these areas. We brought experts in, we did all this stuff, but it was so healing for me because it truly was like it shaped my life. Like
Nice.
it gave me a real foundational understanding of, remember last week, mindset, how to
Yep.
develop the mindset to do the thing I wanted to do. And after that, I mean, I took the whole month of August off. Like I went into like
Deep reflective mode where it's like you got to
reflective
re-analyze
mode.
everything you're doing.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, but it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming because it was so much happening inside of
Yes.
me emotionally and otherwise. And so I just wanted to touch bases with that with our audience because I think it's a good thing to come uh off of the mindset conversation, right? And then like
Yes.
give them the framework, and then hopefully it's an experience we could probably do, take each one of these and kind of talk a little bit more deeper into them on future podcasts.
Had a similar, because I could tell by your reaction in your face, I had a similar experience when I went through that morning routine, morning millionaire morning accountability club, where it was exactly what you said. When somebody gives you the framework and you focus on individual things, and it was like,
Like it
and
just
I'm
blows
actually
up.
kind of still in that processing phase, honestly. Like I've taken on a couple of things, but I'm actually in that same processing phase where it's like, okay, I got to stop, take a step back and
Hmm.
figure out, now that I've had this kind of enlightening and awakening experience, to really understand. Because I don't know about just for you, but it was really like an eye opening experience to my potential, where it was
Hmm.
like, I didn't quite understand my potential. But when somebody gives you kind of the framework or something that really resonates with you, then it's like, that's what I was missing. And it's the last piece, that it's that key to the car. You got the whole car, but now
Yeah,
you can start the car.
yeah,
Like, so it's
yeah,
like, let's go.
yeah. And I think we're talking about some importance, right? The intersections
Yes.
of life, because we could be doing really well. And let me know if you agree with this. We could be doing really well in one area of our life, like financially, or, have the love of our life. But there's this unhappy kind of linger, or this kind of apathy, or whatever you want to call it, that we
Feeling that
start
something's
to
missing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then it's the guilt coming in because it's like, well, why are you feeling like that? Like you got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be feeling this way, and not really understanding that life is a container,
Yeah.
a lot of different containers that intersect into one, like the body, right? So we have the
Yes.
lungs, and we got the organs, and we got the arms and the legs and the nervous system, and everything is working together. And I think Bree said it on the podcast last week, like on the car, which is the
Yeah.
most important part of the car. And the
All of
answer
it.
was all of them, right?
Yeah.
Because all of them are working together. And so in our life, and sometimes in our culture, we're only focused on one area.
Yes.
And we can excel in that area. But if you're not working on these other areas,
It's
you
usually
can
at the
hit,
sacrifice of other areas, and it's
yes.
not balanced.
And it's no
And you have
balance.
to balance it, because if you focus too much on money, then you're probably not focusing on family or yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
so many people focus on money, 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 but they're not taking care of their health. They're not taking care of their spirituality, the way they think, their mind, their brain, their bodies, all of that other stuff. And it's like, all money ain't good money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or if you're going to be getting money, do something that you enjoy doing, fills you, and provide service to somebody else in some way,
Right.
shape, or form.
Right. Or or learn how to, or get the courage to, or however you want to do, to get a container that your service is providing you with the lifestyle that you want, which is a
Yeah.
very, I would say, dreamy type of idea for us, right?
It is,
Like
but it's very real. And it's so
it's
many,
very
I don't
real.
understand why people don't see it's real. There's kids making $1 million opening toys on YouTube. How is your dream any crazier than that?
Than that. Yes, yes. But before we start our title, Shape Your Life, let's do our introduction. So we told them to make sure that they share, like, and share our podcast. Now let's do our introduction. So, Miss Danielle.
I'm Danielle MacArthur. I'm owner, DCDR Solutions, business, entrepreneurship, coaching, um, using continuous improvement based concepts to apply to small businesses to ensure that they grow and sustain and keep moving and getting bigger.
Mhm.
That's
I
me.
love I just love your job that you do because basically if y'all got a product, right, and you need help with this product, getting it out there, getting the processes in place, getting the stuff that's needed, then this is the person that you want to be
Let's go.
talking
I
to.
can't I can't wait to work with you. You don't
Yeah,
understand. Use
I love
all these years of manufacturing experience. There's
it.
so many bits and pieces that go into that, and then just understanding all of the amazing layers of business with, and utilizing social media to really take your business, little small things people can do to, add all these streams of income to what they already got. It's very nice working with people to get them to like, oh man, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it's just simple things, but we talked about that. It's, if you didn't know it, ask somebody.
Ask somebody. Ask
We're
somebody.
not
Yes.
judging.
Yes.
We all can eat.
We all can eat. And I'm Sheila Little, right? I'm the host, and my business is named Shaping Solutions. And the podcast is like a spinoff off of that. And what we do in my business is truly that we help people shape the solutions in their life. Like people run into problems as they're going after their goals, they tend to procrastinate or even self-sabotage. And so what I do is I meet with them and consult them on their problems that they're having and then coach them to develop the skill set or the mindset to be able to implement the thing that's needed to solve that problem. And then I do a little therapy on the blocks, right? The healing things. So I call it like synergy coaching. And we work with entrepreneurs, work with a lot of entrepreneur women or entrepreneurs, right? People who actually, like myself, was a therapist that was contracted in because you don't have a structure, right? You're working they say, do this task, you got 3 months to get it done,
Yeah.
or, take this client or take this, you get what is that called? I got a contractual based pay, so however many clients I see or how many hours I did, I clocked in at the end of the month, I got paid for it. But there was no structure, right, to that. And I had to learn a lot about that. And we're going to talk about that in this SHAPE acronym.
Right.
And so yeah, my primary base is entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. So working with coaches and therapists and individuals who are in service of other people and
Yeah.
helping them heal as they, help other people to heal. So
That's so crazy how we've met up, but they're, like I said, they're both related, because in
yes,
order to be successful, you have to focus on your mind and your person before you can go out and, work your business and be profitable and be
yes,
comfortable in your business.
yes, yes, ma'am. And so you're on Shaping Solutions, right? How to elevate in life. Life is an acronym in your love and your interactions and your focus and your energy. So although we work with entrepreneurs, Danielle, she does do the mindset part of life, but she works on the actual business side.
Hmm.
With me, I'm working with the individual in the mindset and the healing work that's required for the individual to get with Danielle. So when Danielle say get this task done, they're better able to fulfill that.
Yes.
I thank you so much, Miss Danielle, for being a part of this podcast. You'll know how important that is to me. So
Thank you for letting me be a part.
today's topic, shape your life. Right? Should have probably been how to shape your life, but I really want it to be like a statement, like shape your life. Right? Get the things that you need in your life so that you can have the life you deserve. It at least experience it, at least taste it, at least smell the fragrance of it, right? And how are we gonna do that? And again, I'm a old acronym person, so we got the
I love
shape.
it.
And the first place that we need to shape, the first thing that we need to do to shape our life is truly, truly, Miss Danielle. Do you know what the S is for?
Stories.
Stories.
Stories. I like that because that's so deep. My brain goes 20 million different ways because your stories shape you. So
Yes.
I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm excited on the
Well, I
journey.
want to know where you went first, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. So
So,
tell me,
ooh, I
when
love it.
you hear stories, what came up for
So,
you?
so for me, when I hear stories and understanding the topics, it's understanding your journey, what you've been through, what you've learned, what are the lessons that you have that you can use moving forward. That's where my brain went, because everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different life. Everybody has a different motivation, a passion, and a lot of that is founded in your story.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is, and I'm sure from your side, from a therapist view, and I'm very into looking to yourself, is make sure you're viewing your story from both sides. Because I have my saying, like I said, don't point fingers if you can't do it in the mirror. Go back and look at your stories. What could you have done better?
Mm-hmm.
Don't always play the victim. What role did you have in the scenario? We know there's certain scenarios where, you're truly victimized, but in normal day-to-day life, when oh, this person didn't do this. Well, did you communicate? Did you convey your intention? All that other stuff. So that's
Yes.
what I got out of it, is how is your story? What are you taking from your own story?
Right. And how and all that is true, right? And so thank you. But it's not just that part of it, like what are we taking from our own story, but how is our story like limiting us? And how is our
Right.
story like accelerating us, right? Um, so I use the word story, but it's really like a narrative, right? What is the
Mm.
narrative that you have about your life? Because that is truly the thing that's influencing how you think, how you feel, and how you behave, right? And if we think about stories being told, like one of my favorite stories is Pretty Woman, right? Like,
Really?
it is. I know I'm corny. Wedding Day, Pretty Woman. I am like a romantic comedy person.
I am the opposite. That is so hilarious.
But it's like, but so here's my thing. In relationships, I may run into some issues because I have this like very romantic side to me in my
Just
story.
had this conversation with somebody. That is too funny.
Right. It's like the romance and where's the dating part and where is your flowers and where's your thing, right? Because I'm this romantic. Like that's my stories around dating. So when I meet a person that just want to text and call me once a week, it's like we ain't dating for real. Like this ain't where my flowers at. Like I'm supposed to have some flowers every week on my table, right? It's funny, but when I was unclear that that was my story, or I was running away from that story as a female who was had a very masculine life as a CEO and as the leader of my family, this story of being a romantic or want to be romance was in conflict with that, right? It was very much, it's like, oh, you need a man. It's like, no, I really don't need a man. I want one though, and really embracing that story and then building onto it truly just changed my experiences in dating.
You speaking to my soul right now.
It just changed my experience because I learned what my story was, right? I learned it like, oh no, Sheila, this is your story. Now, let's go into a little deeper because stories also impact our self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They limit our abilities. Now we talk about these characters, the victim, the victor, right?
Ooh.
And what is it? The victim, the victor, and it's another one in there. So either sometimes, especially as African American women, we're playing the victor, right? We coming in and saving the family.
And you get tired real fast.
You get tired really, 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 really fast. Like, but you take on that role, and then now you find yourself at work.
Yeah.
Being the victor, right? Like taking on all the work challenges, and you mad because they putting all this work on you, but you don't realize
doing it, and you keep overperforming, so they keep dumping it on you because that's all you know is the victor. I only know how to win. I only know how to win. Don't let you not win one time.
And but you mad because, but that's your story. Now we're talking about a storyline playing itself out right in front of you, and you don't even know. And now that's your storyline as far as now you're acting like the victor, but you're playing the victim when it happens to you.
Yeah.
Right. So when you get all the work and everybody expecting you to do everything, now you the victim to them. Like
now you mad and then they're like, what? You've always done this. What's wrong?
Right.
What's wrong?
Ashley's like recovering victor here. Right. Like I had to like recover from that story and really reshape how I saw myself. And that required me to dig in. So remember I told you that month in July of 2017 was transformational because when I realized the power of stories, this is where I feel like it's powerful. Write the vision and make it plain. Well, what character do you want to play, Sheila, in your life? Right. In one of those romantic comedies, I heard the guy say, either you're playing the leading lady in your life or the best friend.
Ooh.
Right. I'm like, I'm going to write my script as the leading lady in my life. And what does that look like for me?
What is it? That's the most important part of that. And I think that's what changed me because it has to be for you.
For you.
I can't be the leading lady of Sheila's movie. That's her movie. What's my leading lady look like? Does your leading lady have heels on? Does she have flip-flops on? What? And there's so many other elements, but you can't copy nobody else's.
Right. Are you going to be acting like the best friend, always inspiring yourself in your darkest times? Like, it's going to be okay, Sheila. It's going to be okay. Like,
right. I love that.
And here's the thing. I literally have to do it. Like, you all see me with my pearls, but I have on tennis shoes all the time. Why? Because I don't like heels. I always say I want to come out with a shoe line that caters to.
That's like me, Sheila. I'm there.
That's savvy enough for the businesswoman, but I don't want to wear no 4-inch or 3-inch heel.
I officially wrote up. That was part of mine where I was like, this is not me. I can't do it. God bless every woman that wears heels. I love you. It's not for me. If anything requires me to wear heels, it is not for me.
Yeah.
Not the movie I'm in.
Yes. So let me tell you, let's hear a story. I'm going to share a story about how stories play a role. Now, let me tell you what happened to me today. And I'm going to be very transparent in this because it kind of shook me at first. And I had to ask myself, what story are you planning to? And I want to probably, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it under performance. I think it'll fit better under performance. But another story that got to me was what it meant to be an entrepreneur and what it meant to be a mom and an entrepreneur and dating and all of these things. And what that did was it affected my health. And that is the next thing when you start to shape your life, understanding how your story is either impacting or improving, affecting
Nice.
or improving your health and well-being, right?
Yes.
Um, I think that sometimes our, one on its own, we need to develop a great health and well-being,
Yes.
right? And and really develop healthy habits, not just in let me talk about what's health and well-being. That's your emotional health, your physical health, and your mental health,
Yes.
right? So when we talk about health, we're talking about just, your physical and mental and social. But when we're talking about well-being, we're talking about your lifestyle. Like, how is these coming together? And now what kind of life do you have because of that? Right?
Yes.
Your overall health and well-being. When you hear the term health and well-being, what do you think about?
Honestly, it's the same thing. It's it's not only the life that you have right now, but what is the life you want to have? Like one of my things was I started this campaign this year, Halle Berry fine by 40. Want to look like Halle Berry.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it, and I know it's not going to be overnight. So, but my goal is I want to be like Halle Berry. She's extremely fit. She's active. She's actually a diabetic, so she has to do these things to take care of her health. My thing is I have hypertension, so I have to do things because I know if I do not control this over time, it will kill me in a way that was avoidable. So why would I not put in the work and everything now to do that? And it's actually multiple things. When I say Halle Berry, it's not just it's everything. It's the health and fitness. It's she's kind of like she do her own thing. She does what she wants to do. She does what makes her happy. If she don't want to do this movie, she's not gonna do this movie. If she wants to do this movie and nobody cares about this movie, she's still gonna do this movie. It was a lot of components that went into it, but it's exactly what you said. It's your physical health right now, your physical health on what you want to do, and it's all three of those. Your mental health, all of the health and well-being. What do you want your life to look like when you get old? Do you want to be fit and active? I always remember, I don't know if you ever seen the Juice Man Juicer commercials where it was like he's like 70 years old and doing jumping jacks and stuff.
Was
Perfect.
he like
Why
dark,
not?
like really, really dark skinned?
He was tan. It was a white guy and he had crazy eyebrows and like,
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm.
but he was like doing marathons when he was 70. Like that was one of the things. Like I do mud runs and I want to be able to do mud runs when I'm older. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, so what goes into that? It's a constant everyday maintenance.
Right. And I think that you hit a point when you talked about, and Holly Berry takes the the stories that, takes on the jobs that she wants to take on, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about the well-being side of health, I think that some people healthy, like they eat healthy, they may go out
Yeah.
and work out, right? Um, they may not have any, they may be stable mental health wise, right? But their well-being
Yeah.
is not in alignment, meaning they're going to work out the stress that they put on from being out of alignment
Yeah.
because they're doing something they don't want to be doing. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Or they're
Because
working
that
out because they just overate, so now they got to work these pounds off, right?
Yes, I've learned about those types of people, and it goes back to because I'm sure obviously you know about it. There's good stress and there's bad stress. There's
Yes.
healthy stress and there's unhealthy stress. So exactly, like if you're doing all this stuff to combat unhealthy stress, you need to address unhealthy stress and replace that with beneficial stress or healthy, productive stress.
Yes, yes. And we can see people working out all the time, but are they working out to improve up on like their healthy lifestyle, or are they working out because they have such a unhealthy well-being, right?
Yeah.
Meaning they're stressed out at work, they're, eating like not eating right, not eating appropriate, so they're running and they have to do this over here to
Yes.
balance out that
The
over there,
balance. Yes. They're
right? And
balancing
so
it right.
yeah. And so when we start talking about well-being, it's very important for, I think, our audience to understand like these two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like, this well-being part of us also exists, right? But a lot of times it doesn't exist because we have a story that conflicts with it. And this is how powerful stories are. And these stories that we have was developed 9 times out of 10 from our culture, from our household,
Yep.
from the cultures of the jobs we went into, and what we had to perform and what the expectation was in those jobs, right? And we collected all of these stories. Now, here's the powerful thing about a story: the mind doesn't remember everything that happens. It just
No.
remembers partial. Remember, we talked about this last week. If the audience remember, it's interpretation,
Yeah.
right?
Very powerful.
So your story is truly based upon this interpretation of what you thought you heard and what you thought you saw and what you felt like you experienced. Now, when that becomes your narrative, though, you the one who made it true.
Yep.
And now you telling this story like it's absolutely 100% the truth because that's all the information you have, but it's affecting you and it's affecting what you're able to do and how you're able to connect. So going in and updating your story, right, is
Yes.
going to truly impact your health, emotional health, physical health, and mental health. But not just that aspect, but your well-being too, because now your story is coming from a deeper place in you, your dreams, your desires, your goal. And I do this exercise with people. It's called your past, present, and future exercise. That's the first exercise I do with people. And the future exercise is truly based on what is your deepest desire. Like if you woke up
Yes.
to the miracle question, like if you woke up tomorrow and you could absolutely live the life that
Yes.
you feel like you deserve, not the life that people told you deserve, not the life that people told you, the one you feel like you deserve, what would it look
Yes.
like?
I love that.
Right? What would it look like? What would you be doing? You know? And do you know people like, well, I would have a house, but I don't got the money for that. Listen, I ain't talking
We
about what
didn't, and they automatically start putting roadblocks. I literally just said if
yeah.
if you had no, because it's funny because I posed it a different way where it was like if you did not have to pay for anything and everything was taken care of, because you got to put those in there because that's where people's minds already go through. If you
Yes.
didn't have to worry about any payments or anything, what would you be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes back to people lose their passion over the years.
Yes.
All those
Yes.
little things, all the dreams and the hopes that we have as kids, life just beats it out of us.
Yes.
But in order to find that road to good health and well-being, you have to go back to your passions, which were part of your stories. And it's like you said, that's why I said I think you said go back to reanalyze those stories.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
Mm-hmm.
those stories from a different view and figure out, were you wrong in your interpretation?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
I didn't. Let me go back and watch. It's like watching a movie. You watch a movie the first time, you're not gonna catch everything. Let me
Mm-hmm.
go back and watch that movie again. Oh snap! I missed that scene. I missed that word. I missed
Mm-hmm.
that phrase.
Yeah.
And you'll learn a
Yeah.
lot more. But it's
Be
so
like,
many
oh,
people.
that's why they had that. Oh,
Yeah,
this is why they did
that's why
that.
the
I
dude did
never
the
saw
thing.
that before.
They said the thing. Like yeah,
And that's life. And that's how life happens. So, we got our stories directly. How do you do that? I'm going to go into our A, right? Because we have our stories directly impact our health and well-being. A lot of times the reason why we suffer from depression and anxiety and all of these issues, because we have some very harsh stories that we're holding on to, and some very strong limiting beliefs that's preventing us, which cause the dis-ease, which is the disconnect, and that dis-ease causes the disease that we experience in our mind and our bodies. And how do we change that? Is through looking at our attitude and our ability.
Yes.
Okay.
Love that.
So you got this story, it's affecting your health, and you want to change this. But if you don't have I heard this saying before. Let me know if you heard this saying. Your attitude affects your altitude.
Yep. Very common in the corporate world.
Right? So basically, your attitude is going to determine how high you rise.
Yeah.
Right? What you even able to do. So tell me about attitude and how important it is in corporate world, and how important you think it is in life.
So it's funny because I was going to say the corporate world uses the wrong way. Use it as like a hypocrite mechanism where it's like, oh, you need to have a better attitude so you'll fly. No, we don't. We're not doing that. So, personal journey. I think attitude is mindset. What is your attitude when you're going into this situation? It's going to allow you to either soar. Perfect example. Say you get invited to a networking event. You got an attitude you didn't want to be there. You're not going to network. You're going to miss potential prospects. You're limiting yourself. If you go and say, you know what, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to talk to a lot of people. I'm going to network. I'm going to engage. You're increasing your chances of taking off. Mm-hmm. So your attitude and how you approach, you don't know how many conversations, coming from corporate, how many conversations I've had with people about the attitude that they have and how it affects everything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the world uses it inappropriately. They use it as a mode of control because it's almost like you have a good attitude, so you'll go up. And it's like, but I don't feel like this is good for me right now. Oh, no, it's good. Have a good attitude. So no, I don't think that's a healthy approach to it. Like, because if you're uncomfortable, you need to realize, okay, why am I uncomfortable? Or why do I have a bad attitude about this? I'm always about the self-reflection and the self-analysis. Why do I have a bad attitude right now? Am I having a bad day? Are there other factors? All of this, then take that into consideration. If you clear yourself, then it's them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love how you just said that, right? I'm going to assess my attitude like 1st, mm-hmm. and I'm going to go back and attach it to what story am I telling myself? What am I saying happening? Because attitude is a response to something. Now, when we live in an attitude long enough, Miss Danielle, it becomes a mood. It becomes a state of being, right?
Yeah.
And some of us have just lived in an attitude for so long, an apathetic attitude, I don't care attitude, whatever you want to call it, that it becomes a mood for them. Now it doesn't matter really what's going on around them. This is just how I feel when I get up in the morning, right? And moods.
They think it's okay.
Yes, and moods create states of mind, and mindsets, right?
So it affects your health and well-being too.
Yes, so attitudes is so important. In one, recognizing that we all have them, right? And where did minds develop from? And here's a higher order thinking one. And what attitude do I need to have for the life that I want to have?
Yes.
Right? Like when I go to write my story, my future story, my future me, my future person I want to, be, what attitude does that person have? Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. The second question is, now, do I have the ability to take on that attitude?
Yes.
Right? Because if I don't have the ability to take on the attitude of the story that I wrote, then this is when I need to be contacting Sheila or Danielle or a therapist or a coach, because I am out of alignment in my attitude, and that's going to prevent me from being the character or the leading lady in my life.
Love
right?
That.
But most people don't want to don't want to check their own ability. Like, can you even be that? Like, can you
Which,
even do that? Like, you've been mad for so long. Like, this person really hurt your feelings. Like, you are coming off very harsh. And I get it. But you want a life in your story. You want to be cherished and all
you
of that.
be
But your
mad all the
ability right
time.
now, right, is in total conflict to that.
Yes.
You don't
And
have the ability. You trigger
it's
easy.
like you said, it's amazing how so many people can't get that. Where it's like, so how is this attitude and approach conducive to what you're trying to get? Like, riddle me that how you being aggressive or yada yada is going to win, your client over, your boss over, all this other stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how many people they will stay in that victim.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what it, and it's okay.
Yeah. And
You're
then
not
let's.
ready yet. That's how I interpret it. Is I don't think everybody's lost. It's like, okay, you're not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
And,
ready
and
yet.
and the biggest thing I could tell our audience that you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are.
Man,
And I think it's important for us to know, like, you're not attracting what you want, you're attracting who you are. And listen, we've all come from negatively dispositioned stories and
yes,
households and cultures. So we've
yes,
all collected these skewed stories about our abilities and who we are as women, as workers, as entrepreneurs. We've all, in all of those things, has altered our attitude, right? Which
right,
has altered our altitude, what we've been able
yes,
to accomplish in life. In that, we know that this thing is altered because the little thing between our health is affected. Most people between 35 and 50 got high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, but you're still young. Why are you being affected
yes.
by all of these diseases, right? It's because there is a disease in your living conditions,
Love
in
that.
your
Ooh,
environment.
ooh,
And that's
ooh.
okay,
And that's
right?
okay.
It's okay. I'm not judging that. We all come from that. Now,
But it's big because using that, and I don't want to cut you off, but I was so excited because it's a disease. What do you do when you get diagnosed with a disease? It's time for you to course correct.
yes.
You get
Now,
diagnosed with hypertension, I need to do something else. You get diagnosed with diabetes. Oh man, I need to change how I eat.
right, right.
A
And do I
disease. I
have
love
the
that.
ability to do that on my own? Or do I need to hire somebody to come
Yeah.
in and hold me accountable? And I guess that's probably should have been the other A, accountability, because it's like, if I don't have the ability, do I
Yeah.
need to bring somebody in to hold me accountable? And listen,
That's
accountability,
powerful.
accountability and attitude, though, they not friends.
Oh, they not.
They not. Because sometimes your
And
attitude
it's
with somebody,
frenemies.
they frenemies, right? It's like, especially when you got an attitude that is fixed. I'm gonna do what I want to do, how I want to do it, when I'm gonna do
You
it.
can't tell me nothing.
Right. And it's fixed from an entitlement place and not from I don't want to use the word earn, but not from an experience of comfortability, if that makes sense, right? You got this because because everybody just didn't cater to you this way, or your story is that everybody's supposed to cater to you in this way, right? And so
Yeah.
when I come in and I rattle that, now you
Yeah.
mad at me,
Yeah.
as the coach or as the therapist or as the person that's coming to help and hold you accountable to the story that you want to live out in this lifetime,
Yes.
right? And you just can't do it from there.
Yes. And that's
Yeah.
that's a very interesting experience when and especially if you come from an accountability standpoint and you're the reflective person and you're not reacting and they're reacting, and you can really sit there and like, why are you so mad right now?
Mm-hmm.
You did this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard for people to hear that you did that.
Yes.
You put yourself in that scenario. And of course, we're talking about situations where you had the control, you made the wrong decisions, you got the outcome that you did not want.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you mad?
Right.
And so when you force people to go back, and like you said, they don't like that.
Mm-mm.
But
And
you want to do better. So what we talking about?
right. And I do want to add, consciously or unconsciously. I'm not saying you mad on purpose. You just got triggered, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's a
now
good
when
one
you
too.
got triggered, you triggered into the story
Mm-hmm.
that you've been telling yourself, which is why you're not living out the life you live, because everything is re-triggering this old story, this outdated
Yep.
story, these old
The old
experiences,
narrative. Yep.
you know, that life, and you wondering why you feel like you're on a hamster wheel in your life, because things keep triggering you back to that story again, and you're not pushing yourself enough or holding yourself accountable enough, or realize that you don't have the ability or you need help in creating the skills and the framework or whatever to heighten your ability to make the shift that you need, in your life, to actually experience the story of your life, right? And again, were you the leading lady? I say my life is a life. I'm creating a life of yes. Like in all my situations, I just want to be able to say yes. So I want to be around people I can say yes to. I want to have
I love
experiences
that.
come to me that I can say yes to, right? That's my next journey. Like if I gotta say no to you, why are you here?
Now what?
Why are you in my space if I gotta be restrictive towards you, or
Yeah.
you feel like you gotta be restrictive towards me? Because that don't match life. Life is a budget life. Now, with that being said, does things grow slowly? Right? But there's still allowance for growth, right? It's not being restricted in its growth, right? So I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
like give me $1 million and you should say yes today, but at least
Yeah.
it's
No.
like, let me think about that, Sheila, for
Yeah.
a minute to see, right? Like something is in this person, like I want to do this, but let me kind of look at my money a little bit and see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just around yes. And more importantly, I want to say yes to my life. Okay. Which brings me to P.
See,
What was P?
performance and personality.
Oh, these are so big. So remember, we got the stories. I'm gonna keep going back. So we got the story, and the story is either helping us to unlock our potential or just help holding us
Wow.
back from our potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a consequence of these stories that we tell ourselves, our health could be affected. So the first thing we need to do is align our story so we can align ourselves in a healthy way. And not just in our emotional, physical, and mental health, but in our well-being too, right?
Yeah.
And how we feel in the environments that we engage ourselves in, and how we like joy and things like that, right? Just feeling like we're in alignment. And the way we can shift or make the shift happen in our story when we develop our stories and increase our life is to look at our ability. I mean, look at our attitudes. If we need, what kind of attitude do we need to create the story, right? And do I have the ability to do that, right? The next thing we have to really look at is our level of performance and our personality. Okay. Because a big part of the reason why, a big part of our story, one is affecting our performance, what we're capable of doing anyway.
Yep.
But performance is a metrics, right? It's
Mhm.
truly like a way to rate, how much am I doing
Yeah.
longitudinally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how often am I doing that?
Yeah.
And the reason why performance is such an important aspect in shaping your life is because where we perform at the most is where our habits are developed,
I like that.
right? So what we show up at the most in our life, what we do the most in our life, what we
Prioritize.
prioritize the most in our life, right? Typically
Yes.
we have good habits around that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's in our health, if it's in our story, listen, the story you tell yourself the most, can you ever saw somebody be like, oh, look, they going into their performance, right? Like I'm using it in different contexts now, but when a
Yeah.
person is triggered, you kind of know the domino effect that's going to happen.
Yep.
I know they finna call mama, and then mama finna call me, and then I'm finna have to tell them this, right?
Here we go.
the theatrics of it, right?
Yes.
So performance in that way, but also performance in a metrics way. Like, how are we measuring quote unquote success for us?
Yes. That's a very important piece for everything.
Yes.
Everybody has a different measurement of success.
And when I changed the
It's like the
story,
leading lady. It's got to be your movie.
yes. So
What's
when
your
I
movie?
changed my story, right? I changed my story. I done wrote the story. Now I am, Sheila Little, also known as Lex, right? Right. And then now I got this health routine and I'm healthy. I'm feeling better about my life because I'm excited about this story that's gonna take place. And I realized that I didn't really have an attitude for it. So I went and got a coach, which this has really happened to me, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, why is my story not coming alive? Right. And what it came down to is that I wasn't doing the things that needed to be done, right? Even with the coach, even with the therapist, even with that, I wasn't performing. I
Yeah.
wasn't showing up. I wasn't taking on the role and the attitude that I knew I needed to take on to develop that life.
Yes.
And you know why? Because it wasn't my personality.
That's big.
So remember we talked about this in the small business thing, and what you on? And I said I took the DIS assessment and I realized like I was a pilot and like
Yeah.
oh yeah,
The yes.
yeah. And when I found out, oh wait, you're a pilot, like you're a dominant in
Yes.
the I, and that's your dominant traits, and this S and C is not for you, right? It's not gonna help you, like you failing in these areas. When I found that out, it made so much sense because a lot of the work that needed to be done was in the S and C area of my
Yes.
life,
Yes.
right? And so my personality was getting in the way how I was just built. Like I'm not really I can do big things, but when it comes down to the little things, like I can't really do.
Look, trust me. I'm a I, and I was close to the D, but I'm very high on the I. I'm an influencer, and that is I understand. Where it's like,
And I that
send me
S
out. Send me out for the broad things. Don't ask me for the details. Don't ask me
for
for the
the
details.
details.
I just know. Just trust me. I just know. I just need you to do this. Don't ask me for all the details. And then they want the details, and now it's like now I'm procrastinating because I don't feel like giving you details.
Yes, yes, right. And this was totally affecting my story. Like it was totally making it feel like, okay, Sheila, you want to be the leading lady in your life, but why do these stories keep coming up? Like the example I'm finna give you guys. So today, I
Okay.
go to my Instagram because I done hired a marketer, right?
Uh
And
oh.
now listen, anybody who know me know that I have always had, what would be the word, Sheila Little? Would it be? It's not execution.
Okay.
I can execute with the best of them, right? But it always have been in the little things, like showing up 10 minutes before, or
Okay. It's the
yeah. So as a hairdresser, that was my most lucrative career. And the
yes.
reason why I was so great and I could make so much money is because the client was here, I could do their hair, they paid me, and they was gone. Right. So efficiency
Yes.
wasn't a problem. Like I can do this whole thing right now.
Yes.
In my coaching sessions, I'm really successful because I do working sessions with my clients.
Yes.
So we get it done, what you need to do, right? And so they see growth in their business because we're actually working together to make sure that this thing is being executed, right?
That's my same approach. Yes.
Yes. So if you give me a task and you like, okay, get back with me next week, I don't know what's going to happen between this week and next week. So it's like, okay, let's just
No.
go. Let me go and get that out the way right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got my first job, I was a therapist and a case manager, and I have to go to people's houses. And because I work like that, like sometimes I would give them like I'll be at your house between 1 and 2 o'clock. So they had this hour frame because
Plumber
couldn't just
windows. Okay.
yeah, that was our window, like right. And then I started my own business, right? Now, this is when I realized, oh, Sheila, you know you the bomb as a therapist because you had the secretary to answer the phones. You had the people to follow up to make sure that the insurance was put in. You had all of this structure around you. Your
Yes.
S&C was covered, right?
Yep.
And all you have to do is influence and dominate in a session,
Yep.
right?
That's
So
deep.
I'm showing up, I'm doing great. I'm just like rocking it out with my clients, go to be a counselor at, Delta. Same thing at a college. It was a college called Delta. Same thing. Rock out. You can rock out because you got the supports around you.
Yes, that there's people feeding you the things that you need in order for you to execute what you need to execute.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
that ability to break down. Look, 'cause that's what I do with people, where it's like, you need this, you need this, you need this, and because so many people don't think about that.
No. And let's get it done now. So we can go and get it out the way.
Yes.
And so, make a long story short, I'm on Instagram today and I see this comment under my post. And the comment said, I was working with Sheila. She was my therapist. And she just stopped showing up for her sessions. She stopped showing up for her sessions. And she didn't pass me along, didn't do something. And just so you know, that's the kind of experience you're gonna get from Shaping Solutions. When I
You
tell
decided to
you,
go to the
wait, wait,
section
hold on,
to
wait,
dress
wait.
and
When I
breathing.
tell you, when I saw that, because remember, Sheila had an efficiency story, right? There was
Yes,
a
yes,
time that Sheila was efficient. I mean, was
yes,
inefficient, right?
yes, yes.
So I'm like, what? Like,
And you
what?
were like, when? Yeah,
Now, mind you, there's also been a fear because you're like, why you want to just step out? Why? Because I know that in my inefficiency 10, 20 years ago, I probably did some people and probably didn't show up and probably, and I don't want to get big and
yeah,
somebody slapped me in the face with that, right? So this is the limited
yeah.
belief. This is my story, right?
Look, look. You preaching to the choir. Keep preaching.
Okay. So
They
now,
need to hear this. They need to hear this because
right,
that's very important.
right. So now it's like I done did the mindset work. I done changed my story. I done learn my health and well-being, right? I realized that I probably didn't have attitude. So I need to, get the help, right? To help with the
Yes,
abilities and all of that. Then now my performance, right, is being affected. I done started this business. I'm got these like no shows, so like I got the, now find out what my personality type is,
yep,
set in that, and then put the infrastructure around me. So I hire
yes,
people. I hire the people to call me, or in this case, I take contracts that have that infrastructure. So
yes,
Sheila now just has to communicate with the company, and the company now communicates with
yes.
whoever I'm talking to, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I can't show up, if I'm not gonna be there, if I'm sick or something like that, right? In this case, that is exactly what happened. I contact the company, right? Hey,
Okay.
I have COVID because I had COVID like a month ago. I have COVID. I won't be able to be in. So we was out. I was out for a week. Then my aunt died. You know this. My aunt died. So I contact the company. Like I won't be taking class. Okay, no problem. This particular person, it wasn't even on my schedule, so they wouldn't have known, right? But they're
Oh,
communicating, right, to me, and I'm not responding because I'm off, right? You should have gotten a response that says Sheila's off, right? Through
I
the
see
through
how
the
you see how that was kind of tied to stories too, because it's the both sides. When people don't know both sides,
listen,
and for
listen,
you
man.
that triggers you because it's like you want to tell this person, but I had this, this, and this, but you shouldn't have to
But I
because
shouldn't
you
have.
told the people that you thought were supposed to communicate this on your behalf.
But Miss Linda, Linda, you remember Sheila had an
Listen,
efficient, like I'm inefficient. And this is why I haven't really blew up. And this is why I haven't put myself out there from fear, right? That this
yep,
gonna come bite me in the butt. And now in front of all my people, you post this. I don't really even know you. Only been on my caseload a couple of times. Like, oh, you talking about my hands were shaking. But you know what? The reason I'm doing Shape Your Life right now is
yeah,
because I did E. right? I knew that I know what my performance is. I knew what my personality was, right? And
Yeah.
I understood that I'm changing my story, right? I
Yeah.
am efficient, I am powerful, I'm wonderful, I am amazing, right?
Yeah.
I am the leading lady in my life. I align my health and well-being, I work out, try to eat healthy, but most of all, I make sure my well-being is good. Like,
Yep.
when I don't have the attitude, in my ability is off, I'm gonna give me a coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm always checking my performance with my personality. So I put structure in, which is why Jay is here, right? Because I know this thing ain't mine. All we got to do is click right in. That works for me,
And
right?
it worked amazingly.
Yeah, right. So when this thing triggered me, and I want to share this story because I think that a lot of us are
Yes.
held back because I had two decisions to make at that point. It could have been, I could have dropped down into my default story. Now I'm talking about default stories. You know, when you cut your TV off, you
Mm-hmm.
unplug the cord or all the lights go off in the house,
Yep.
right? And your TV used to go back to what number did your TV used to go back to?
Look, you taking it
What
back. I want to say it
channel?
was like channel 3 or something. I
Three,
can't
yeah,
remember.
channel three,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when your default, when everything shut down and you reboot, boom, you on
You're
channel
aging us
three,
a bit, Sheila, just a little
huh?
bit. I
Huh?
said you're aging us a little bit.
Right?
TVs
Now,
don't
I
do
know
that
people
anymore.
don't know about that, but you would
Would.
default, right?
Yes, it would.
And when I read that, there was this you finna. It's like, see,
Triggered you.
this is it. But because I did E, which is emotions, because
Mhm.
I know how to work on my emotions, and I've truly worked on emotional management in my life, I
Yeah.
was able to shape the situation. Sheila, what story is you telling yourself? How is this affecting your health right now?
Yeah.
Are you do you have the ability to communicate with this person? Do you have the right attitude to even communicate with this person? If you
Agreed.
don't, right, then how can you get that ability, right? What is your performance like? Okay, did you do this or didn't you do
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Right?
I
You know
think
what I
that's
mean?
big. Yes.
I mean, did this really happen? Is she telling the truth? Like, did you have you showed up for her? And that's the balance of it. I'm like, well, tell him how good I treated you too, though. All that went up.
Yes.
But so performance, like, did you actually do this? Right? Like, is this a part of this thing? And then the personality. What type of personality are you dealing with?
Yes. That's huge.
Right?
That's
Not just
huge.
what my personality is,
What
but
is
what
the
personality are
personality
you
that you
dealing
are
with?
dealing with? Because the
Right?
ability to assess that is what you said feeds back into the emotion. What emotion should you have? Because if the
Yes.
personality of if this person just does that, then that's your emotions should not react. If they just
Yeah.
love trolling, and we all know there's people that love keyboard bullying and all that other stuff.
Listen,
Don't follow the process. You could have filed a complaint with the provider, or no,
whatever.
you
Yeah, and
chose to
they
come.
say that. Like,
You chose to come at me, bro.
I mean, you just searched me up because, like, I am contracted through this company. So you didn't,
Yeah,
came in, you said this thing now, emotions. And this
yeah,
is the most important thing about shaping your life, having a level of emotional intelligence
yeah,
and truly understanding not just how to manage your emotions, but the emotions of other people around you,
yeah,
right? And understanding what's happening. And if I didn't have this last thing, like that story, my default, I would have just been like, you know what? It would have gave me the reason to say, you know what, don't even come out with that workshop because they gonna just keep doing it. They gonna keep, whatever. And it's like, no, 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 no. We finna eat this. What you feeling? And be okay with. Okay, yep, that
yeah,
triggered me. Or be okay with your emotions. Understand their emotions because I did let her down. I feel you. You
yeah,
should
yeah.
have a level of,
You don't, yeah.
I was
You didn't
working
know
with
what
you.
state she might have really needed it,
Yeah,
and that's why
yeah.
she's offended. And it's that ability to go back, like you said. I think it's big because so many people think it's okay to react.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to react. It's not okay to stay in that reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to react, but then you always have to go back. Why did I react? Okay, let me
Mhm.
analyze that and do exactly what you said. Okay, let me think about her perspective. Think about the other
Mhm.
side. Again, it's that mirror. Think about how are they feeling. Obviously, she felt some kind of way that
Mhm.
she had to write this. So what led to her doing this?
Yeah.
She was
Yeah. Yeah.
expecting a service. Maybe she was very excited to work with you, and then she didn't.
Yeah, yeah, all of that. But if I didn't have a level of emotional intelligence, one, when I defaulted back, when that trigger happened, and it was like, see, this is why we didn't even want to go online because people just, and
Mhm.
then now I have to listen to that story. Then I had to listen to the inadequate me. Like I'm not perfect, I do, which is why I will tell you, I have an assistant, like I
Yeah,
hire a maid, like I have an accountability coach. She like, why do you have all these supports around you? Because I want
that's
to
what
be
I
the
need.
leading lady in my life and in my story. I know I don't have the ability to do every last one of these things, but I want the attitude. And the way I'm
Yeah,
gonna have that attitude, right, is to increase my performance level. And the way I'm gonna increase my performance level is to know what my personality is and put the people in place that need to be in place so that I can do what I want to do. And we all winning.
I
We
have
all
the
winning.
like yours. That is the perfect how I've taken caretaking. Because, like I said, I am my mother's caretaker. She has end stage renal disease. She has to go to dialysis. What you just walked through, that's something that I'm trying to get people to understand. If there's anybody who's out there caretaking, because I feel like our generation is going to get it hit a little bit earlier, and they really need to be ready, and you need to have a plan, and not only for yourself, but who's taking care of mama. But I've had to have this conversation with my mother repeatedly because I've had to compartmentalize these things because it's like, no, what I'm over. This is what I'm in charge of. And like still jokingly, well, what? Because she asked me about reaching out to her brother or something because she was being emotional and da da da. I am not the emotion person. That's not what I'm here for. And I had to tell her, I said, Mommy, that's not my job. Can you ask um older sister? And she's like, well, what is your job? Like, I'm house manager. I keep the lights on. I feed, but I've had to because some things ain't for me, and
Right.
that's okay. And I have to contract people. Like I told you about my housekeeper, I had to get it to combat what I was dealing with my mother because this is driving me crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sacrifice my sanity if I can just pay somebody to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, you just that's a whole trigger moment because that is exactly how I've had to tackle caretaking when I have to explain these things to my mother over and over again. I do this and this and this. If you want this, please ask my younger sister. If you want this, please ask my older sister.
Right.
And it's deep.
Right. And
That's
I
it's big. It's amazing that you put it in that and it just fit as you were explaining it. I'm like, yeah, I guess I do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, having a framework to go through, and again, I'm big on frameworks and acronyms. How do I shape this situation? A part of us shaping solutions is just that. Like, there's a problem that we need to shape, right? And that's how we shape our problems. That's how we shape the solutions. Like, one, what story am I telling myself? How is it affecting my health, right? Health and well being.
Mm-hmm.
What is my attitude about this situation? Am I able to handle it? Do I have the ability to handle it on my own, or do I need to bring somebody in? When they give me the task, can I perform those tasks? And if I can't, is it a personality thing, right? Is it just outside of my container? Because if it's not, if it is a personality thing, now I'm going back and I'm affecting my health because I'm doing this thing that I really don't want to do. So
That's
now
not
I'm back
me.
in misalignment again. And then E, the emotions of it, the shift that I'm gonna make in my life, right? Can I withstand how I feel, but then also how other people gonna feel about this, the emotional intelligence part. And I do want to talk about the definition of emotions because emotions is actually the I learned that. Let me see what I put it at. Energy emotion, right? So this is what emotions are, energy emotion. And we talk about
Oh yeah, I've heard that before. Energy in motion because it's
yeah,
emotion.
yeah,
Yes, I love that.
yeah. And so we talk about like not sharing people energy or not picking up off on people energy and not like exchange, but everything is either lost or stolen. Nothing is lost or stolen. It's only
Only
transferred.
transfer. Yep.
Yeah. And it's going to be if it's going to be transferred, then let me transmute that energy. And that's
Ooh.
in how we tell our story. So with this situation I was telling you about, the person that posted on my Instagram, the first thing was me transferring her energy. Like she felt the way, and then now I feel away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when
Immediate.
I went, yeah, but when I went through this shape method or this shape acronym, I was able to transmute her energy because now I not only understand how I feel, but I also have compassion for how you feel, right?
Yeah.
And instead of me commenting to you, one, you did way more in my life than what you know, because what you really let me see was that I still have to work on this
The
old story
continuous
of,
process. Yes.
yeah. And when I work with my coach, I'm going to tell her this story like, oh, and it got me so anxious. And maybe this is probably why, the workshop hadn't come out, because I felt like I was over this, but I'm really not. And look, it showed up and this is how I feel. So it did a lot for me. But not just her feelings, but my feelings. And then you know what I did? I just contacted the company. Hey, such and such is upset,
Yeah.
because I didn't show up. Is that something you want me to personally address, or is that something you're going to address? Right? Like, simple. I let it go. I released it because the energy is going to transform. I mean, the energy is
Yes.
going to change. It's never lost or stolen. Like, it's only transferred. So
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up on your vibe. I, though, with the story I'm telling myself, can transmute that for the
I
good of
love
us
that.
both.
I love that. Where you take bad energy and you make a good energy.
Yes.
Like instead of shooting bad energy back, hold on, let me modify this and then let
Yeah.
me send it back.
Yeah. Because I
Like
can't
that.
avoid it. You know what I
Nope.
mean? It's and I think people don't understand this. And if we end up breaking each one of these down, you will hear me go into a deeper conversation about energy. Like, no bad energy. There's no way you cannot absorb
Well,
energy.
and
Yes.
if you, oh man, and that's a terrible way to think. If you think, oh, I'm going to avoid all bad energy. No,
No,
I
that
don't know what
doesn't.
your view is. My thing is understanding it when it's around,
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
how to deal with it and then get away from it. But you're
Yeah.
never going to be able to avoid bad energy.
And I think that's where the story come in, because if I'm seeing it as negative energy, right, that's already
Mm-hmm.
finna shape the
Yep.
situation already,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna affect my health and my attitude and my performance and everything, right? But if I know the journey I'm on, and this is why it's important to write out our journey, as we
Yeah.
close today. This is why it's good to write out our journey, and I want you guys to do a shape. I got a little exercise for y'all to do. This
I
is
got
why
my
it's good
paper
to
ready.
write out our journey and our story, so because that's our anchor for our why. Why am I even trying to
Mm-hmm.
transmute this energy? Why am I learning about emotional
Yes.
intelligence?
Mm.
Right. Um,
Why am I listening to this podcast?
right. Why am I listening to? Because I'm trying to shape my life, and I
Because
got
I'm
these
trying to
things.
do something different.
Right. So the whole goal to shape your life is to change a problematic narrative into a more productive and healthier one. Right. So this is because it starts with your story, and then the story then goes into our health and our abilities and our performance and our emotions. Right. And so when we can change our story, I think we can change our life. And I say, if you could shape it in your if you could shape it in your mind, you can shape it in your life. And that's the story, the narrative that we're telling ourselves. So this is what I want to do. How
Yes.
do you know if you need to shape your life? Well, I'm gonna do an
Ooh,
assessment.
assessments. I love assessments.
Yeah. So basically, I got 10 questions. Well, 10 things, 10 areas, and there's just these areas, so we don't have to go back. We can go back through them, but what I want you to do is rank yourself from a 1 to a 10, right? What I forgot to say is there's two stories that's the most powerful in our life. We talk about our love story, but our money story, right? So we
Ooh.
have two stories. Like, although we have a lot of stories, the one that really affect us the most is going to be around our love and around our money. So
Man,
I
you
just
better
wanted to
tell
say
it.
that. I'm going to cut this off because I think it's, yeah. So it's going to be around our love and around our money. So the first question is, we talk about stories from 1 to 10. how much of your money, and let me say this, money story is basically, I don't know, how do I say it? It's basically your beliefs around money,
Yeah.
right? Like if you believe
How
that
were you
money is
raised?
the root of all evil, and you got to work hard for your money and this type of things, right? So this is it. So I want you to do 1 through 10, and you can just put it on your phone. You can just kind of mentally do it, but it's 10 questions and it's a 1 through 10. So basically, your whatever score you get, 70, 80, 100. You know what I mean? I try to make it really simple.
Mm-hmm.
So from a 1 to 10, how good is your money story? Do you believe like you could be a millionaire? Do you believe that you can, you know, be a make the money that you want to make, how you want to make it and where you want to make it at, doing what you love to do? Or do you have blocks around that? Do you feel like it's difficult to get a loan? Do you feel like as an African American it's just hard and difficult for you to get the support of your community? Do you feel like all money ain't good money? Or do you feel
Yeah.
like, you know, money don't grow on trees, which it do,
What you do, baby? The
so
right trees, you just gotta find them.
right. And one, are you living, are you, the biggest one for this one is, do you have the income that you feel like you want to have to support your life? Right? Are you
Yeah.
making the amount of money to support your lifestyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your lifestyle,
Your lifestyle, not somebody else's. So if
not
you
somebody else's. This is your
right,
movie. We talking about your movie.
right. So if you ultimately want to be driving in a little G wagon, that's your gold car, but you only making 40,000. I mean, that's a possibility, but G
With a
wagons
lot of
is getting
savings, you may
yeah,
live in a shanty.
yeah.
You still have that G
So
wagon.
yeah. So just think about that. Am I currently making the money that I need to be making to support my lifestyle? Remember, your lifestyle is your story. Okay. Two, love. This is under stories too. Do I believe 1 through 10 that I can be loved unconditionally, right? Like that I can love unconditionally and people can unconditionally love me. Where am I at in that? Unconditionally, not based on because you hold a certain title, right? Because of who you are as an individual. If you choose to change your life, this person is still going to love you. Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. Now let's rate your health. Okay. So, how good from a 1 to 10 would you rate your mental health? Right? How sound are you? How healthy are you? Do you deal with anxiety and depression, or do you have a lot of joy and fun in your life? How good is your physical health? Can you run? Can you walk? Can you, take the hill today if you really wanted to? Could we go hiking?
And I think, and it's crazy because this is something that I do too. But you have to remind them, you have to be honest with yourself when you're doing this. Not, no, be honest. You the only one that knows what you do at home, not
Yes.
how healthy you are or how you appear at work. If you
Mm-hmm.
go home and fall into a tub of ice cream, that's probably not the best look.
Right.
I wanted to interject as a reminder
I
that
love
when
that.
you're doing this assessment, it's only beneficial if you're honest with yourself.
With yourself. And I think that's the whole part of shaping your life too. Remember we said you're shaping your life. And even in the GPS, when you write this new story, we gotta know the old story, because when you put the new
You gotta
destination,
know where am I going from to get to where I
the
love that. I love a
GPS
good
system gonna
analogy.
say, where is your current location? Your
Yes.
current location
Where's your current
is
location? I love
your
that.
current story. And you're rating right now your current story. This is how you even know if you need to shape your life. So, in your current story, in your current money story, in your current love story, in your
Mm-hmm.
current health story, in your current health, mental health, physical health, right? Where would you rate yourself? And then in your attitude, what kind of attitude
Was
do you
that the
have?
fourth one? Attitude?
Fifth one. So, mental health is one, and physical health is another one. So, we
Oh,
got
those are two different ones. Okay, mental and physical.
love. Yeah, because
Trying to play
mental health
along.
is different. How I think and how I feel in my body.
You're right. That's why when you said it, I was like, them like two different things. So,
Yeah.
oh, I'm
Okay.
glad.
Okay. And then your
Then we
attitude.
got attitude.
What is your attitude like? Right now, remember, we're basing your attitude today. Now we can start moving forward. Like, is your attitude like in alignment? Do you have the type of attitude that you want? Right now, and do you have the ability? Do you personally have the discipline, the wherewithal, the accountability that you need to change your attitude? Do you have it? Right? Where are you at? 1 through 10. Yep. My attitude is this, and I have the ability. Right? And the skill set. So ability is the skill sets to change it if I want to. And my attitude, am I optimistic or pessimistic? Okay. And your performance, how are you performing in your life right now? 1 through
Be
10.
honest.
Be honest. How aligned are you in your personality? That's number 8. How much of what you do today is aligned with who you are? 1 through 10. I'm a talkative person. I'm on a podcast.
Look, I'm a talkative person. I didn't realize how much I love podcasts.
9. Okay, we talked about emotions, right? So your emotional intelligence score. This is truly just how good are you at recognizing your emotions? That's 10. That's 9. And then 10, how good are you in recognize the emotions of other people?
Nice.
Are you the type that's like, no, I didn't catch that? Like, girl, did you see how mad mom was? Like, are you the
You
person
ain't
that's
see how she raised her eyebrows and looked at you
yeah,
like
it's
that? Nah,
like,
I didn't see none of that.
like you ain't feel her looking at you like, like, do you have
Mm.
an awareness of how other people energy moves or gets in motion? Okay.
And it's
All right.
so crazy. I never realized how many people don't.
Mm-mm. A lot
And
of
it's
people.
very interesting.
Yeah.
When
They
you
know how
are a
80
person, yeah, when you're a person that does, and then when you talk with somebody who doesn't, and you're like, you really did not see all of, nope.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow,
So I thank you, Danielle. I think we went a little bit over our time. I did want to share the
did we?
story. I think we resolved my issue. I wanted to share that story, which is very vulnerable for me because, like I said, it does go. I mean, some people in here on this show be like, "Yep, she was always late for my appointment when I did hair."
Uh,
Or so it's
oh,
very
so you didn't
vulnerable
want the floodgates to open for people to
for
start
people just to be like, "Oh
piggybacking
yeah,
and
yep." I remember when she used to do her hair.
trolling. Yup, she just like that. Like, I
Yeah,
did that
yeah,
one time for
yeah,
you.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they turn a single incident into a habit, and
Yeah.
they're
But guess
drafting
what?
a story
Guess what?
about you. What?
Here's my, and I want to say, like, here's my confidence. I would be late for my hair appointments, but I did hair so good. Do you understand me? I was like the best that they stayed. And at the time, my ego was that, right? I had to grow. I had an attitude around that. Like, okay,
Like, you
you
can
know,
wait. You be all right. You
you're
about
gonna
to
be
get
all right,
blessed.
right? And at the time, I didn't have the ability to change my attitude at
Mm.
17, 18, 19. Like I was just stuck in that attitude. Like either you gonna be here or not. Like, let me know if you
Most
stand.
hairdressers are.
Yeah, let me know
I
if you
love them.
stand. Like, and it's like I was very much egoic back then. I feel like as the 43-year-old me, I definitely have shedded a lot of that. And in shedding that, like I said, the biggest thing that came up when I saw that emotion, biggest emotion that came up for me when I read that message, was like this, what is that called? Exposed. Like, man, I feel
Oh
exposed.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, she didn't put this out there. Like,
Kind of like,
now, yeah, like it was definitely oh my gosh, like how do I respond? Like it hit me in so many levels. But like I said, me understanding how to shape situations in my life, you know what I mean? And really asking myself, okay, what story? I couldn't tell you what she said. The first time I read it, all I saw was
blacked
didn't
out.
show up. Like it was like I told myself a story about what she said at first. Like I literally
Mm-hmm.
had to stop and say, no, Sheila, read her words. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Read her
Because it was
words.
so many things in her thing that just triggered me. And now I'm like, okay, what? Like, being defensive and like, it was like, no, slow down, breathe, you know, and read her words and what
Yeah.
she said. Because I was
Yeah.
going straight into story mode, straight into trigger mode, like like it was crazy. And it started to really affect me, my well-being, my health, and all that. So I just wanted to share that because I feel like when you know how to shape your life, right? You know how to really come at the situations in your life. And listen, as we're growing and shedding, old things are going to come up and they're going to get triggered. And if you don't
Yeah.
have a new story, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have a direction for who you want to be and who you're
Yeah.
becoming,
A
like things can
destination.
trigger our default person. And I'm like, just always hire you a coach and accountability person to really help you navigate
If
the
you
things
don't have the
that's going
proper
on.
people in your circle, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Because some people,
navigating,
yeah,
yeah, what's going on. So,
you need to have people they can talk to. So, but if
yeah,
you don't, and like you said, if anything has made you think like, oh man, maybe I need to take a step back.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And my
there's
biggest thing
help.
was, even in contacting her directly, it's like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna contact you,
Yeah.
really for them to give, because by that time I hadn't shaped the solution I wasn't emotionally triggered no more. I wasn't, it kind of, I allowed it to go through me. Like,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, right? I
Yeah.
really did. I allowed it to just, I felt that it was true for me at the time. I retold myself a different story and I just let it go through me. And I shared it because I feel like we're all entrepreneurs. We're all going to face things, and it's going to be
Yeah.
like, see, that's why I didn't even tell you anyway, because I knew you was going to say, but that's your story, just coming back and reflecting to you. And that's really all she did, was reflecting my fear of inadequacy back to me, right? That's
Yeah.
that's truly what she did. But I'm not inadequate anymore. And that's what I learned, right? Once I responded to the situation, oh no, I'm not inadequate anymore. I can
Yeah.
handle this and I can handle you. But I am sorry, that I
Yes,
wasn't there for
because
you. But honestly,
yeah,
I couldn't be there for myself. And that was the first thing to go into, like, oh, I had, like all these excuses. It's
the
like, no,
defense. Yeah.
yeah, the defense. So what was your score? You want to share your score? I'm sorry. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, calculator. I
Right.
ain't got a
So
bunch of. I
so
don't
let's
have.
see
I don't
a little
have
bit.
pins down the row.
You don't gotta share a story unless you want to. But listen, we all can shape
Shoot,
our life.
I'm all
If we don't know anything from Danielle, there's always continuous improvement. And
always.
here's the thing in business. Um, Listen, you could be doing 20, you could have
Yeah,
two
75.
75. So you could be doing like 75, and that's okay. That's greater than a lot of people is doing. And so we got to look at even perfection differently, right? So we could be doing good
Long
in our life as a 50, but if a 50 don't make you feel, you understand, deep in your soul, and it don't make you, it don't do something to you and just make you smirk in the middle of the day. 50 ain't making you smirk in the middle of the day. Like, thank you, God, or whoever your higher power is.
yeah.
And
So
maybe
how
you need,
often do you recommend people revisit this? Because like you said, I'm a continuous improvement because things change. Things
yeah,
change. You lose
yeah.
people. People you talked about losing a business partner. Situations change. So how
Mhm.
often do you recommend people revisit that exercise?
Oh, shape your life every quarter, every 4 months, like every 3 months, 4 times a year. And it's funny
Yeah.
because my personal assistant, like, you just always doing assessments. And I'm like, because I'm always altering. You know what I mean? And I'm
It's a
always,
metric. How else
yeah,
can you?
it's
How
like,
else can I gauge my success and your own personal growth? But I'm sorry, that's a foundation of life. Trust me,
yeah,
metrics.
yeah. And then also, like, okay, what situations rattle me? Like, this one rattle me. Like, I know that this is what I'm gonna talk to my therapist about. Like, oh, I kind of got this feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be something deeper. And as you grow, like, you're always exposing yourself to different situations. I just wanted to be transparent and let the people know, one, nobody's perfect and we're all evolving. But you don't have to respond from your default story. You actually can create a new story for your
Yep.
life and start putting in the framework so you can start experiencing life differently and truly become the leading lady in your life or the leading person in your life. You know what I mean? And not be the best friend. Okay. All
Too
right.
funny.
And remember, if you can shape it in your mind, you can have it in
Maybe
your
in
life.
your life.
That's right. I'm Sheila. You can catch me at I Am Shaping Solutions. I think today was our first day. We actually air um, on Shaping Solutions. We are in Mid City. Thank you for everybody that joined our Mid City podcast
Yes, Mid-City
community.
Network.
Yeah. Now in that community is awesome because you get the Spanish classes, you get the real estate classes, you get the small business podcast come on. So it's a lot happening in that group. So thanks everybody who came in there. And then we have it on our I Am Shaping Solutions page. So that's me. You want to say?
I'm
Say
Danielle MacArthur at DCDR Solutions, here to help you. Look, I'm a Jaguar, shape your business.
right.
But yes, using continuous improvement concepts to improve and make your business sturdy. But it starts with shaping your mind. I will have to say, and I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Any takeaways?
It's fun.
Any
I
takeaways?
love the score because it's actually something that I have something similar. I love that, but I like when I learn about things that maybe explanations to approaches that I've always had, and kind of put them into it, because that was part of my deep reflection where it's like I have these thoughts and abilities and things that I can do. And now I understand, yes, have the right pieces. And it's good to hear from other people. And it's like, I am on the right path. I am making the right decisions. I am approaching things correctly. And it's always powerful when somebody's like, well, maybe if you're questioning it, you probably need to reevaluate it.
Right. And you know what, everybody, I just want you guys to feel free to give your aha moments, right? Because in your aha moments, when you teach it to somebody else, you actually learn it twice. So make sure you put your comment down about what was your takeaway today. And if you have any questions about any spaces within the SHAPE acronym, make sure you post those. Again, thank you for your time. We enjoy your energy and support. And hey, talk to you guys next week.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.